I am very happy for the creativity that you all share, all the different projects, whether it's painting, drawing, cooking, it's traditional art or digital art. Belladonna here is sharing, an increase in skill over the years, and on the heels of showing off the part four of the Tiamat drawings, the artist Rat here is showing off a Call of Cthulhu character. So I am absolutely I am absolutely honored for all of you who do share your creations here. I love looking at this channel and seeing what you all are up to. Um, just yeah.
Oh, it makes me happy.
Anyway, let's get to it. We are here to take a look at the player's handbook for Castles and Crusades, as well as the character sheet, because we are going to be building our very first Castles and Crusades character. Now, let's get some good character building music playing. How about not that one. Not that one. Oh, you know what? Tavern music. We'll play some tavern music in the background. After all, don't we meet in a tavern? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? All right. Now, in the quick start and in other places, Castles and Crusades has a notion or a tagline of being able to make a character in 15 minutes. Is that true? Are we going to be extremely over the top, harsh skeptics and literally cancel Troll Lord games if it takes us 16 minutes? Well, no, it will take longer because I'm going to be reading, interacting with you. So if you hope to build a character in 15 minutes, this ain't going to be it. We're going to build a character, and it'll probably be quick. It's just a level 1 character. In fact, you know what we're going to start with? The good old-fashioned male human fighter. Ah, yes. The Ryu of Street Fighter, the Mario of Smash Brothers, the I don't know what would be like the very like plain standard, the solid performer around which everything else is made, right? I'm imagining Baldur's Gate 2 tavern music right now. There's some very good music in the Baldur's Gate games, in the older ones too, like what you're talking about, Jacance. The Man at Arms looks kind of Milanese-esque, late 15th century. And says, when it comes to male human fighters, I keep thinking about ways to make them unique. Oh yeah, and neutral good, right? The neutral good male human fighter. And that is part. So that's kind of the part of the joke, right, Jacance? Because while that is considered to be the bog standard for a fantasy character, I think that we can find some neat ways to make it unique and to make it more than just whatever the concept of Ryu from Street Fighter, Mario from Smash Brothers, like the default, the solid average character, right? Well, look at that. We already have 3 lines filled in, and that we haven't even started the timer. Yep, the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes. If you can't make a solid male human fighter, then what can we ever hope to make in a system? All right. So if y'all are playing along at home now, actually, you might be able to. I'm gonna check something. I should have checked this during the break. Hold on just a moment, because I want to say Trollord Games recently reposted their link for a free download of the player's handbook. If it's here, I'm going to share it with you, so you all, if you don't already have a copy of it, you all can actually play along. Maybe not. However, get a PDF of the 7th printing of our player's handbook for free. Give Castles and Crusades a try. We're sure you'll love it. We're just giving it away. All right. If this doesn't work for you all, let me know. If that doesn't work for you, now this is the cover of the 8th printing. Does that mean 8th edition? No. That is a claim to fame here of Castles and Crusades, is that it has been Castles and Crusades for quite a while. It hasn't gone through drastic iteration changes or mechanical overhaul. So maybe some of the graphics might look different, or maybe there could be some wording that is slightly different. I don't know the differences between 7th and 8th, but if you all follow the link above, that will be a download for the Player's Handbook 7th printing. Now, I have the 8th. I bought this as part of a bundle on DriveThruRPG. As it says up in the corner, I'm not sponsored. I mean, hey, Trollord Games, look, you guys are leaving money on the table. Come on, huh? It's just like Kroger. Kroger never sponsors me, and I'm drinking their generic soda all the darn time on stream. Man, I tell you what, just missed opportunities left and right. But I bought the PDF bundle myself so I could show it to you all in a digital format. I have a hard copy of the book as well. I mean, if any of you doubted that I have an actual, if I just showed some random PDF, that's my backup copy, because I have an actual. I also sell it and teach it and vend it, so there's that too. I'm not claiming to own it or distribute illicit copies. Anyway, so if you're playing along here, what we're going to do, we've gone over the basic rules, which this system isn't that difficult. There might be a couple things where you go, yeah, it seems to be more of a hallmark of an OSR style, or you go, yeah, you know what? Strong 3rd edition vibes, because this is an OSR style game. Does it make it bad? No. And is it complex? No. And is rule number 1 to modify the rules as you would like to have fun? Yes. So we're gonna create a character. So what's the first thing we do? Imagine a character. Maybe that's something we can come up with in chat between all of our imaginations here. Dragon Blast says, I could build a level 1 character in 15 minutes in 3.5, 5, Pathfinder 1 and 2, but I know those systems well enough to do so. And you know what? This first generic neutral good male human fighter might take us a little while, but then we'll get better and we'll build characters in 15 minutes or under from there. Roll our attributes. Each character has 6 attributes generated by rolling dice, and then we can assign them. Assign them as we see what we have, and then we can choose a class. Although maybe we've chosen it here. I don't have a randomizer. Maybe I should build a character randomizer for Castles and Crusades, and that would be a fun thing to try out. Maybe I could do that for tomorrow night. We know we're gonna roll fighter, but you know what? Let's just take this step by step. Dragon Blast, will you get us going and type exclamation point 3D6, no spaces. exclamation point, number 3, letter D as in doggo, number 6. All right. 5, 3, 5. Oh, starting strong with a 13. Now, I'm going to list the numbers up here. There is a way, if you wanted to say we're locking in the stats and we're rolling, 6 straight down, that's fine. I mean, 13 for a fighter, that's not a bad start. I also do have a dice command up above that's a 4d6, and it's usually 4d6 drop the lowest. People do this in all kinds of different ways, but for here, this is saying just roll 3d6. And the way that the attributes work is it's a little bit of a flatter curve than what you see in D&D. And so if we end up with something like a 3, okay, well, that's, you know what? Let's work with what we have. We're going to go by the book with this first character. All right, Jacance, I would like you to roll 3d6 in chat, please, and let us know another stat for our neutral good male human fighter. Exclamation point 3d6. 6, 1, and 4. We have an 11. Okay. Hey, Istwild. There was someone doing YouTube shorts a year or two ago testing out every idea version of stat rolling people would throw at them. There were some wild ones. Oh, what were some that stood out to you? Scanian. It was a risk I was willing to take, Jacance. Scanian, would you please type exclamation point 3d6? 1d20 down the line 6 times was intense. I have heard of that as a way as well. So Scanian gives 5, 6, 3. Oh man, you all you're giving. We have some strong starting stats. Are you guys fudging your dice? Come on now. Jacance, what we normally use 3d6 for is in our D&D character creator that rolls our ideal bond and flaw for the background of our character. So in this case, it's providing stats to us. But in Dungeons and Dragons, the 3d6 command is our ideal, our bond, and our flaw. All right, next up, Estwild, will you roll 3d6 in chat and let us know another stat that we have? Five, 3, and 1. All right, so here we go. We have a 9. All right, we're going to generate 2 more stats. And who else do we have hanging out here tonight? Game Master's Vault, are you still here? GMV, if you're here, can I get a 3d6 roll? Five, 2, 5. All right. So far, our stats are above average. In D&D 5th edition, Jacance, part of the character creation is a background for the character, and each character background offers 8 different personality traits and 6 different ideals, bonds, and flaws. So when we create a character, I have someone roll 2d8 for 2 personality traits, and then I ask someone to roll 3d6. And then we look at how the numbers line up. Is it the first ideal, the third bond, and then the second flaw in each of their respective lists as we generate the background for the character? Who has not rolled yet? Goblin Gygaxanor, are you here? Capodrazi, Noctis Silence, Squiggy, Bagger. Who else is Bane? Are you still hanging out? Who all is here and hasn't rolled yet? Oh, have you made anything from those cookbooks, Jacans? Another was roll 3d10, take the middle roll and add 8. If you do, I would love to see pictures of them, of what you create. Oh, do we have no one else? We only have a couple people in chat right now. There's 31 of you out there. Any one of you out there is welcome to speak up, so I can call on you. I don't mind calling on someone a second time, but I'd love to spread the love around. Mancheetah, are you here? Awkward Mancer, Echo, Miller, Crispy Bangs, Vampire, Big Slam. Who all is here? All right, Mancheetah. 3d6, please. Exclamation point 3d6. What is our final stat? Or our final attribute? Two, 4, and 1. There we go. There's a solid lower score. Thank you, Mancheetah. I would say we're still above average, but it is better than like, oh yeah, all of our stats are super high here. All right, now we don't necessarily have to assign those scores in this order, but we have a pool of scores that we can put around somewhere on our character sheet. Now we're going to choose a class. A class is a basic concept upon which the character is modeled. This is one of the more difficult aspects of character creation because each class represents an archetype found in literature, film, or within role-playing games themselves. Each class should be very broadly interpreted. It is possible to have wildly diverse characters that are members of the same class. Classes should be considered examples of archetypes that provide a broad representation for the type of character desired. This is necessary in order to accommodate the needs of the player and the setting where the character's adventures occur. What are you saying thanks for, Scanning? You got to roll already. Now, the fighter... Yep, I absolutely agree with you, Mancheetah. The fighter, as a broad concept, is a warrior with great prowess on the battlefield. Here we go. So we are going to choose fighter, then we choose a race, and we've done that with human. Select a race that best fits your imagined character concept. In Castles and Crusades, one can choose the versatile human, a long-lived elf, a willful dwarf, a curious gnome, a quick-footed halfling, a forlorn half-elf, or a pernicious half-orc. Each race is unique and has its own special abilities, capacities, culture, and personality. Closely examine each race prior to making a selection. In particular, ensure that the race selected does not have cultural or personality characteristics that conflict harshly with the persona of the character you wish to create. Though, even according to Rule 1, if you don't like something, like dwarves in the system have a baked-in distrust of elves that are not already their friends. If you don't like that rule, don't play with that rule. Is everything that a dwarf is and does in Castles and Crusades dependent upon that feature? No. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, yeah, I've, stream disconnected. Don't know why. I'm back. Oh, okay. Oh, welcome back. All right. I was going over things here about choosing a race. It says, hey, choose one that fits your concept. And it says, make sure one doesn't have a cultural or personality characteristic that could conflict harshly with the persona of the character you wish to create. And I brought up the example of dwarves have an innate distrust of elves that they don't already know. If you don't like that, the entirety of a dwarf isn't reliant upon that as a rule that you play with. And if you don't like it, even according to rule number 1 in this system, don't play with that rule or concept for a dwarf, right? Make it your dwarf. We'll get to hit points and such, but why don't we do this? Let's take a look at the fighter. Fighters are brave warriors who take up arms to meet their foes in the crucible of battle. Fearless, they don themselves in the accoutrement of battle, relying upon their superior martial skills to overcome obstacles. Okay, then. And we are getting some different proficiencies here, which we might not necessarily have to... you know what? I'll make a list of it here, and then we can choose from that depending on what we can buy or what we get otherwise. So the fighter can wear any armor, use any shields, and any helms. Oh, well, that's pretty easy. So for right now, I'm going to put it in parentheses. Any, and any. Pretty easy. Cleric. Aha. Here we go. So if you're playing along, we are on page 36. Yes, Bruised Beef. I did make sure to post that in your finds on our Discord. I also made sure to retweet it. All right. Prime attribute is strength. Now, in this game, you have prime attributes, primary attributes, and secondary. As a human, we're going to get 3 primary attributes. Now, your class determines one of them. So for sure, we're locked in for strength, and we get to choose 2 more as primary attributes. That's part of the human versatility. Alignment any, hit, and by the way, if this was somehow lawful good, and you don't want to play a lawful good, then don't. Otherwise, it's a suggestion. Hit dice, we are a D10 hit die class. So for that, I'm just going to put a D10 for right now as a note. Weapons any, armor any. All right. What else is happening at level 1? Our base to hit bonus is +1. So we'll fill that in. And we get an ability called Weapon Specialization. Choose one weapon to specialize in, +1 bonus to hit, and a +1 bonus to damage when being used. All right. Let's have Bruised Beef. I would like you... what is a weapon that you like? I don't know if you're classic sword and board, if you like whips or pole arms or spears, or if you like ranged fighting, so maybe you're a bow and arrow type of guy. What is a weapon that we should specialize in? I should say in which we should specialize. For you never use a preposition to end a sentence with. Hi, Morbid Huskies. Good to see you. Well, in lieu of bruised beef, apparently dipping out here, we will go with a halberd. So we will have class abilities, weapon, specialization, halberd. All right. So far, so good. From the maelstrom of war and conflict, great warriors arise. Tested on and mastering the brutal fields of battle, these combatants nobly make war against cruel overlords and barbarous hordes, or are driven to conquest and brutish slaughter by depraved spirits and malignant desires. Found in all societies and amongst all peoples for whom battle is a constant, these are those who turn to the sword and might of arm to defeat their foes and fulfill their desires. Kings and tyrants, warriors and brigands, foot soldiers and raiders, adventurers and treasure hunters, these are all fighters. The fighter is an archetypical warrior, superior to all other classes in armed combat. Fighters come from every geographic region and occupy all social strata. They are born with a strength of will and a spirit that leads them to seek the field of battle, and find the clash of metal and the ring of steel invigorating at times, and necessary at others. Fighters do not live in fear of the melee. They face their foes with gritted teeth and steely determination, longingly anticipating the next test of their strength and skill. All fighters, regardless of their background, are characterized by the will and ability to use their brute strength and swift sword to solve problems or overcome foes. Fighters are a unique breed and make their own way in the world for ill or good. Fighters depend on heavy armor and weaponry that require great strength and skill to wield properly. Whether sallying forth with a massive double-bladed battle axe or a delicately balanced saber of the finest steel, whether sheathed in plates of shiny metal or hefting only a shield on the blood-washed fields of combat, the mighty arms of these warriors rise and the weak fall beneath them. And it is that strength that carries fighters through the laborious contests of steel that mark their daily lives. Many cultures have unique weapons, and warriors in those cultures are often trained in their use. Ooh, pardon me, everyone. Wielding them as if extensions of their bodies. However, all weapons, regardless of make, function to the same end, and the well-trained and highly skilled fighter intuitively knows the best manner in which to use them. Fearsome with any weapon, the fighter is an opponent that only the foolish underestimate and the weak regret offending. As with weapons, the use of heavy armor is demanding upon the body. When worn by those unfamiliar with its weight and bulk, armor can be a hindrance to movement. It requires great strength and knowledge to properly wear any armor and maintain one's skill of hand while so donned. Fighters are accustomed to the bulk and weight of armor, knowing how to manage and adjust their thrusts and parries when wearing it. Once trained, a fighter knows how to adjust their fighting style to the weight and load of any armor in order to use it effectively. So here's our weapon specialization. At first level, the fighter can choose one weapon with which to specialize. All weapons are eligible, including ranged weapons such as the bow or sling. The weapon with which the fighter specializes is usually common to the fighter's culture or society, but it need not be. The castle keeper and player should consult to determine which weapons are available for specialization, bearing in mind culture, location, and availability. The fighter can only choose one weapon with which to specialize. Once chosen, the weapon cannot be changed. For fighters between 1st and 6th level, this specialization imparts a +1 bonus to hit and a +1 bonus to damage when being used. At 7th level, the bonus is increased to +2 to hit and damage, and increase again to +3 to hit and damage at 19. Okay. So, let's see. If we fight with a halberd, we have a miscellaneous, if we want to count that, from our weapon specialization. And we're going to get a +1 in our damage, also from our weapon specialization. Pretty straightforward. Okay. That's higher level abilities. This is if you're getting into super high level stuff here. So let's go back to, I want to say, having fun. Get out of here. We don't play games to have fun. Hit points represent a body's ability to withstand damage. A character's hit points equals the amount of damage they can take before being killed or knocked unconscious. Okay. Oh, you know what, though? Before we calculate that... Uh-oh. Here we go. Break it down, everyone. Lazy Wizard Raid? What was going on in your channel, Ryufu? Also, Ryufu, no context. I need you to choose a non-strength ability. Go. An ability, not a skill. One of the 6 abilities that's not strength. Dex? Okay. Let's see. Jacance, you said that you like the aesthetic of dual wielding a Gladius. So we don't have that just yet, but I'll tell you what, Jacance, we get to have one more primary ability. I want you to name a non-strength, non-dex primary attribute. Do you want to complete the physical? Are we the peak of physicality? And you want to go con? You want to go charisma? Okay. What's your thinking with this, Jacance? Talk to me about the character. I was working on some world building for my world, Hag Island with dinosaurs. And how were you going about it? Was it, were you soliciting chat for some prompts and advice? Were you following a particular methodology or book or something? Was it really just a, hey, let's get together, sit down, and talk about dinosaurs and magic stuff? Charismatic, boastful, wandering treasure hunter, says Dragon. You love charisma, says Morbid Huskies. A pretty fighter. Charisma is misunderstood and undervalued. All right. Well, with that, now, we don't have to put the highest score. We don't have to put 14 in strength if we don't want to. Remember, in this system, that you might notice there are no skills, and so Ryufu, this is why I said that I need something like dexterity, not acrobatics. There are not skills. If we wanted to do something that was acrobatic, that is simply a dexterity check against difficulty, which is determined off of, well, is this a primary stat of ours or not? If it is, then we go off of a base of 12 plus any particular difficulty modifiers. However, if we wanted to do something that was dexterous and dexterity was a secondary attribute, then our starting score would be 18 plus modifier. So there's a 6-point swing between anything that we want to narrate, we want to try and do through an attribute. That being said, con may not be a primary attribute, but we might still want to give it a high score. Does that make sense? So we might have a lot of hit points, but it will be harder for us to save against disease, energy drain effects, and poison. I have a system when I roll on a table for points of interest, and then I try to get it to fit the area I'm working on usually. Well, hey, I believe, Ryufu, you and I met because you were running a workshop, and I love meeting fellow workshoppers. So I'm very glad that you brought the Ryufu crew. I don't what is the name for those denizens of your channel? Is it the Ryufu crew? The Silver Lighters? But I appreciate your workshop coming over to visit ours, as we're making our very first character in Castles and Crusades. The Guild, okay. Lore-wise, I'm a lazy guild master. I appreciate it. I like that you have because you are the character Ryufu Silverlight is your is that right? You have lore around this character who's presenting on your channel. And I'm sorry, I missed a comment here from Jacance. It is more than good looks, leadership, and spirituality, like connecting from a single neuron to another neuron. Manchita says, oh, that's sort of leaning in the neurodivergent spectrum. Hey, bring these ideas. As you can see, we're not super heavily constrained here. With high charisma, this fighter could be more of a natural leader, maybe the leader of a new mercenary guild. I don't see why we couldn't be Morbid Huskies. We're not roped into anything in particular here with this concept, and because really, that's what the character says. Just imagine a character. So all of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas and everything. It's a conversation we're having now, but we could throw that out at first. You know what? Let's have a charismatic fighter who's maybe aspiring to be the leader of an adventuring guild and wants to go out and prove himself or something along those lines. Jacant says, like, think more than simply looking someone in the eyes before you lead them to fight the greatest danger they've ever faced. And he looks straight into the depth of your spirit. A true connection. All right. Well, let's see. If we're going with that idea, then let's have. If we're in the mix, right? We want to be the leader, and we want to understand. We want to make those connections. We want to have that with people. I think for sure we should have a strong presence, right? A physically strong presence, and we should also have a strong personality presence. So let's drop our 14 in strength and our 13 in charisma. We should also be able to endure. So while con isn't a primary attribute for us, let's make sure that we can stick around to do both. From there, well, we have an 11, a 9, and a 7. If we're out to prove ourselves and ourselves to ourselves and to others, what if we Tetotros? And if I mispronounce that, please correct me. The youngest of noble house out to prove their abilities and to set themselves apart from their family. Ooh, all right. I'm willing to work with these concepts. Throw it out there. Let the character build himself for you. Someone who misses with their greatsword but still knocks folks unconscious from their thunderous shout. Ooh, I'm loving it. All right, so if we're here to prove ourselves, let's put our 11. We are a little bit more physical. Let's go 9 wisdom and 7 intelligence. Now, the ability, or in this case, the attribute score modifiers are a little bit different. This is a flatter curve than what you're used to in D&D. Each attribute has a numeric score ranging from 3 to 18. It has a corresponding modifier. We're talking about attribute. All right, we don't need to worry about those. Though this is giving an idea for what each of the attributes could mean, if you wanted to. We generated our attribute scores. Here's our modifiers. All right. I'm going to scoot this over so we can type here. There we go. We'll butt that up right here. Okay. So with a strength of 14, that is a +1. With a dex of 11, that is a +0. With a constitution of 12, that is also a +0. With an intelligence of 7, that is a -1. With a wisdom of 9, that is a +0. And with a charisma of 13, that is a +1. Oh, well, 14 is a +2 in D&D. That is true. In Castles and Crusades, the attribute modifiers are a little bit different. Hi, Rosewolf. Dakota says, I have a question. If you put 7 in Dex and use heavy armor, does Dex even affect it? We can go and check because we haven't given ourselves armor just yet. Yep, I'll get to it here, Dakota. We will find that out very, very shortly. All right, a halberd being melee is wielded off of strength. And our damage is going to be modified by that as well. For purposes of what we're making here, as we have a neutral good male human fighter to start, I will normally we roll this for D&D. I'm going to set this as middle for age. We are middle age at 35, and the reason for this, unless you don't want to play with this rule, but there is a chart or a modifier. There is a modifier to your character if you are the older you get, that can affect your stats up or down depending on what they are. So human, we're 4'8" to 6'8". So let's do this. Dakota, can you type exclamation point 2D12? There are youngsters. Middle age might actually be where that threshold is, so we might have to drop it down a little bit. We're adding 12 inches to the minimum height, so we are 5'8". And I want Ryufu Silverlight. Or actually, hang on, you already rolled. Tatatros, if you're still here, can you please type exclamation point 1D100? $51, so we are going to weigh 151 pounds. All right, we're not talking about multi-classing or class and a half. What else here? I think I missed some other stuff like starting gold for fighter. I might have gotten a little ahead of myself. I am not out of memory. I'm looking at my my computer stats right now. I absolutely should not be out of memory. Oh my goodness, what is going on? I am not out of CPU nor RAM. Oh my god. What is going on? Did I miss something here? If you all want the book, there is a free version of it from Troll Lord Games. You can go here. You can go here and download it. Hold on a second. I gotta restart this, I guess. Close this. Let's open it back up. And resize. All right. Let's go back to maybe that's in equipment. So we'll head over there. Let's main screen turn on again. We were on fighter. But you know what, we read through this, it didn't have like gold to start out. Howard, this is burr. I say burr. Adobe, what are you doing? I'm not over 49% memory is what I'm currently at. Hold on, I'm sorry for this, everyone. What is happening? I'm making sure to close. I'm closing out everything I possibly can. right, get that back to a page. Try this one more time, everyone. This is frustrating. This is not Troll Lord's fault. I don't know why this is happening. My rig should absolutely be able to scroll through a PDF while broadcasting. If I flatten it, it should fix the issue. There's a memory leak somewhere. Okay. If you do this, do linked pages still work the same? Something I should look into myself. You have the same troubles too, Ryufu? All right, so there are 7 races: human, dwarf, elf, gnome, half-elf, halfling, and half-orc. Choosing a race is a vital part of character creation. Race establishes a character's abilities and weaknesses. In a more literary sense, the character's race helps to define the character's identity. Where attributes and class answer very important questions about the character, race is an equally, if not more important defining factor in a character's persona. Imagine a short, stocky, dour-faced, bearded warrior girded in iron with a fearsome axe and rimmed shield. You could very well be imagining a dwarf. Imagine a character that is tall and lithe, clear of vision, has golden hair, and is wrapped in the mysticism of the Fae, and you could be imagining an elf. Characters that are small and nimble with strong hearts might just be halflings. If your image is of a tall, bearded man wrapped in the shimmering folds of a vermilion robe while leaning on a staff, it's probably a human. A broadly built character of grim countenance, brutish lineage, and mean disposition may be a half-orc. These are a few of the many possibilities that the player can select. The races are designed to have some latitude, allowing the player room to create a personal flavor for the character. When choosing a race, the player should make an effort to understand the basic personality and culture of the selected race. Whether using the social descriptions developed for Castles and Crusades or creating your own societies and cultures, successful role-playing results from a melding of the character's personality with its racial background. Furthermore, each race has a number of inherent racial abilities. These range from full vision in inky blackness to finding hidden doors to hiding well in the wilderness. Read the description of each race carefully to gain familiarity with their extraordinary abilities and limitations. Each race has certain characteristics that make it unique. These characteristics are not only reflected in their various abilities, but also in their basic attributes. For ease of reference, each race has a standard descriptive block that briefly describes the racial appearance, society and culture, and other racial traits. Languages, size, okay, so it's a lot like what you see in other books. So we'll continue on. Dwarves, elves, gnomes, half-elves, halflings, half-orcs. Aha! The human. Humans are the most diverse of the races. Their strength and power derives from their adaptability to different environments, cultures, and societies. Where the other races are tied to the world around them in one manner or another, humans alone have no innate affinity for the world. Beyond that, master craftsmen to their tools and creations. Their ability to adapt allows humans to maintain close contact, even intermingle with demi-humans and humanoids, if they deem it necessary, expedient, or desirable. Diversity is a hallmark of this race, and humans can be any class. And if the standard stuff, like with any book, in the player's handbook or other systems, you say, you know what, humans in my world are more solidly fixed in some way, cool. This book absolutely urges the castle keeper and the player to talk about these things. All right, so I'm not worried about description and personality. No, let's see. Any environment. Language, common, size, medium. So we'll fill this in. do. Description, personality, background. Not worried about encumbrance and stuff just yet. We can calculate that for sure. But we don't have that other stuff. Anything? We already have mail, so... well, if there's not a particular place for size, I'm not seeing it offhand. If you all do, then let me know. However... I'll put it after human. Languages, common. Our movement is 30 feet. Typical classes, any. Attribute modifiers, none. Ability modifiers, none. Okay, well, there we go. Pretty straightforward. You can see here, like with the half-orc, where we have attribute modifiers, +1 con, +1 strength, -2 charisma. Last and most important is the character's persona. They're generating the final statistics related to class and race. Players should determine the character's physical description. So these are things that we can decide upon. So we can do that together in chat. But it does encourage go into their history, build this up. Don't necessarily just treat it like a pile of numbers, like a living math problem. Alignment are fairly general. There's much room for interpretation within each category. Yeah, very much so. Law and chaos, good and evil. So it's talking about this. These are conversations all on their own. You can take the suggestions offered, or you can leave them. Choosing a deity, not required, but it goes over some inspiration from real life and otherwise. Aha, here we go. In completing the character's starting coin. As a fighter, 3d8 times 10. Hero Dragon. Yeah, I can take a look at it sometime. I did see that it was out. Hero Dragon, I would like you to roll 2d8 in chat. And then 1d8 in chat. Have a good night, Rufu. Thank you very much for the raid. 1 and 2, and then roll 1d8. 2. All right, we are starting with 5 gold pieces, everyone. Or 50, I mean. 50 gold pieces. That is our budget. Now we can buy. Well, now, yeah, I guess we're in our. We're in here. So first things first, if we're specializing in a halberd. Halberd, here we go. Halberd is 10 gapuz. So we're down to 40. And if we come up here to our weapon, it deals 1d10. It weighs 15 pounds or 5 encumbrance value. And our damage was 1d10. So our total to hit modifier is +3, and our total damage modifier is going to be 1d10 +2. All right, now if we're using that in 2 hands, let's see, must be used 2-handed, and these weapons are considered pole arms, which does something interesting in initiative. We actually get to attack once first if someone charges into our range, and even though if we go like after them in initiative. All right, so we're not going to be holding a shield, which means that we should focus on a helm and armor. So we could buy an armet for +6. And we're going to be limited probably to studded. Yeah, we can't buy laminar. If we're already down to, let's see, we had 50. We're down to 40. If we buy an armet for 10, that leaves us with 30. So maybe we get studded leather armor. So let's write armet. I don't know if you have to write the weight out, especially because it does use a very nice and easy encumbrance value. But I might as well while we're here. So studded leather is a +3, and the armet gives us a +6 if we are struck in the head. So yeah, armor class adjustments for helmets apply to strikes against the head only. Okay. So 0 shield. Right now, nothing miscellaneous, nothing magical. And our armor, which was... What did we have? We had studded leather. That is a +3. And we don't have another modifier right now. So our armor class is 13. Let's see. None of these armors. The armor we chose didn't already have a helm. We could possibly save some money if we wanted to go for a lower. We could even increase our AC if we went up to 20. Oh, I'm curious for all of you out there. Yeah, we could just get a Saleh. Or a salad, something else like that, right? How do you all pronounce this word, COIF? Do you pronounce it quaff, like KWAFF? Or do you pronounce it coif, like KOIFF? How do you like pronouncing it? I've heard it both ways, and it seems to be commonly accepted both ways. So I like bringing this up every now and again. How do you pronounce it? I pronounce it quaff. You say coif, Rip Artist? The second way? All right. Well, we have a weapon and armor. We have the remainder of our starting gold. We have a really good helmet. Maybe that plays into our character. And I'm sure we could pick up some other things too if we wanted to spend our money on, I don't know, a knife or a dagger or something. Let's see. Oh, there's a cat of nine tails. Club, daggers, 2 gold. So we can play around with it. Various missile weapons that we can read about. Get a war horse. We can buy some bagpipes for 35 gold pieces. Water flask. Not worried about that sort of a thing. Let's finish building the character. Encumbrance. A character has an encumbrance rating equal to their strength score. Okay. So our strength score. We have a 14. This is then modified by the character's prime attributes. If the character has either the strength or constitution attributes as prime, they may add 3 to their strength score to determine their encumbrance rating. So we have strength, but not con. So this means we actually have an encumbrance of 17. So we can carry up to a 17 of encumbrance. And right now, if we're wearing our helmet, we're wielding our halberd, and we have a studded leather armor on, we're already at 9. So we can fill up with a little bit more, with some more things. We're level 1. No experience. Not worried about this right now. Hit points by level includes the constitutional bonus. So this can be... the hit points are determined... well, it offers a couple different ways. You can just give max. It might depend on what the castle keeper thinks you'll need. Is it a more lethal? Is it a more lethal game? Or is it maybe in your character that you would just be naturally tougher, so you take the max? Or do you do half plus 1? In the spirit of this, I suppose we could roll it. And the rolling method... says that for a number of times equal to your con modifier, you can re-roll, or con modifier plus 1, you can re-roll your hit die and then take the highest. So in that case, we can re-roll a d10 once. So let's do this. Bruised Beef, will you please type exclamation point 2d10? And we'll take the highest and add our con modifier, which is 0 to it. All right, we'll take the 5. And if you want to keep them separate, you could always do that, like 5 plus 0, to go with what you rolled, and then plus your con mod. As things like in D&D, if it affects it, it could be retroactive. All right. We have our encumbrance. We're not over encumbered just yet. Yep, and we don't use magic, so there we go. We have a pretty basic character. AC 13, except on our head, which is 16. Unless does the helmet stack? Is it a 19? It's either 19 or it's a 16. I'll have to double check and see if the helmet replaces the otherwise the bodily AC, which it might if it's a location specific. Yeah, we can go shopping for the rest of our 5 gold pieces. Right now, we don't have another horse, animal companion, or familiar. And then we can always fill in the description of our character, our personality, and other background traits. There's many ways to generate those off of tables in books, or if you just go into it with a concept, you say that you want a particular, the up and coming person who wants to be the leader of the Adventurers Guild. There we go. Ooh, sorry. We don't have any spells to worry about. Maybe, I mean, if he is religious, maybe he does have a holy symbol, though we don't have the ability to turn. But I guess what we'll do, let's take a quick break here. We have our level 1 character. I'm going to take a quick break to refresh myself. And apparently I needed to flatten the PDF here. That was recommended up here by Tatatros, Advanced PDF Optimizer Save. So that's if you flatten this PDF, it should fix the issue. So I'm going to do that in the background. I'm going to refresh myself, and then when we come back, let's level up the character one at a time to see how things progress, and hopefully I'll be able to fix this PDF. So hold on tight. I'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes at the most, and we will continue this and look at leveling up our character.